looking forward to a new year with great things in store. At this time, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. at this time.
How y'all doing? My name is Richard Kogel. I see a lot of familiar faces in here. So I see a lot of new faces. I used to be the principal at the middle school here in town, and been with the district for about 5 years. I started Legacy Early College High School when it first opened up. I know some of you probably run those routes. And back about 5 years ago when that opened up, so I did that for 2 years and moved over to the junior high. So I've been with the district for 5 years. I'm excited about my new position. I moved over to central office. I'm the deputy superintendent now. Basically what they did, there was Kim Mason and there was Barbara Dale and David Kruger. And what they did was those guys retired, so they kind of combined those 3 positions kind of into 2. So we do have a separate person that's doing the curriculum and instruction part of it. So most of my duties are going to be on the day-to-day operations, pretty much assisting the superintendent and also overseeing maintenance and operations, transportation, and things like that. So, I'm glad. I've been working with Carl for 5 years and glad to continue to work with him and to work with you guys as well. There's a couple of things. I'm not going to take much of y'all's time. Again, welcome back. I've always said this, and I believe it to be true in education. Substitute teaching, I think, is the hardest position there is. Until I started dealing with some of the stuff that y'all deal with, I think bus driving is probably the hardest part of education. That's probably something that I could not do. I'm thankful that y'all can, and that y'all have the patience sometimes to work with some of the kids that are on there. But we're going to be doing a lot of things differently. I want to be very interactive with you. I want to be a resource for you, as well as the principals. So I kind of oversee the principals on the campuses as well. Okay. So of course, if there's a transportation issue, things like that, we go through Carl, we go through the campus principals. But I'm also going to assist and make sure that things get taken care of. Okay. So I've been there, been in their shoes, never been in your shoes. Never driven a route on a school bus, but I don't think I ever want to. So don't put me on that. But I tell you what I will do. I am going to do from time to time. You probably will see me riding some routes and going with you. So I want to do that. The best way to find out what you're dealing with is to get on those routes. I do want to keep me true to that. Help me out with that. But you know, some of the things that we're doing a little bit different is I want to make sure that we continue safety training, okay, with everybody, not just with the transportation, but with maintenance, with custodials, that we continue to do that. I know Mike Yannick is going to be providing some of that, and I know Carl will be providing some of that, but that's going to be monthly, okay? That's going to be an agenda, that's going to be part of it, and I'm going to try and be here for all those if I can. For that, because I think it's important that y'all get the safety training that you need. Especially when you're out there on the road, you have to deal with the emergency situation. I know the emergency situation that happened over at the bus at Vernon, is that right? You know, I heard nothing but great things out of this department when that was being dealt with, so that's good. The other thing, real quick, that's probably that y'all deal with all the time, and that's the management of student behavior. Okay, I want to make sure that that you are supported on that. I want to make sure that our principals are supporting what's happening on the buses. And we're going to go through some training, and I'll probably be conducting it, or Carl we'll get together. But we're going to be going through some discipline management training on the buses, okay? Writing a student up on a citation or a referral or whatever y'all are calling it, and making sure that there's some follow-through with that. Just briefly, kind of some of the things that we're going to kind of be talking about is what goes on that referral, okay? Because I've seen some, you know, we can't put student names, we can't put other student names. That becomes, when you write that referral, it becomes a public document. I mean, the parents can have a copy of it anybody. The newspaper, if they want to get a copy of it, we have to give it to them, okay? So just know that anything you write down like that becomes a public document. You can't say this kid's been a brat for the last 3 days. You can't say things like that on there. But that's the type of training that we want to go through, and that's writing good referrals. And I'll tell you, as a principal and dealing with some of that stuff, and I talked to Carl briefly about it, is You know, it makes it hard sometimes to deal with the discipline referral because y'all know something happened, but we're not 100% sure of who did it. Or you see, y'all know what I'm talking about. Something happened back there. You look back there, there's 3 or 4 kids. You know somebody did it. Somebody's got to be punished for it. Okay, but who? You know what I'm saying? So we get some referrals sometimes like that, and we have to look into it, and you know, we have to show, we got to get to the bottom of it. If we can't get to the bottom of it, we can't just take a kid and kick them off the bus because we think they did something. We know somebody did it, but you know, we have to just know that we have to get to the bottom of that. So, and a lot of times kids come forward, and we do get to the bottom of it. We do remove them from the buses, and riding a school bus is a privilege, and the students need to know that. The parents need to know that. And I'll help you out any way I can with that. The other thing is that is two of my big pet peeves is, or 3 of them really, is 1, being disrespectful. Students being disrespectful, fighting, and vandalism. Okay? I don't like disrespectful people. People can be polite, and that goes a long way. Even when a kid's in trouble, I said, if you just say yes or no, sir, just come in and say, you know what, I did it. You know, I mean, sometimes you just get, it's not as tough as if you sit there and lie for a day or 2, and then we get to the bottom of it, and then we have to issue some disciplinary consequences. Fighting, no tolerance for that. Cussing, no tolerance for that. And then also the vandalism. Okay, and I know those buses, they're about $100,000 each. You know, we got a nice air-conditioned big bus. It's about $100,000 for those buses. And we want to take care of them. You drive them every day. You want to drive something nice. We want the kids to ride in something nice. Okay. I remember the days. I don't know if all the buses are air-conditioned, but I remember the days when none of them were. Right? And you know, there wasn't air conditioning in the school. Some of y'all remember the days you couldn't wear shorts to school. You know, I mean, a lot of things have changed. A lot of things have changed nowadays. But you know, checking those buses, and I know he has procedures for that. Checking those buses and making sure that, you know, we know when that vandalism occurred. If we can get to those seating charts and get stuff like that to where you know who's supposed to be in that chair, then we can really narrow it down and try and get to the bottom of it. But we're going to hold people accountable. Kid cuts a seat, whatever, we get to the bottom of it, we know that kid cuts a seat. We're going to ask for restitution, okay? Kind of the way, just so you know how we operate. We try not to get the police involved. You know, with kids, if we can handle it outside the police, unless it's something that really violates the penal code, the police must be contacted. But something like vandalism that might be just cutting the seat, right on the seat, we're going to ask for restitution. And if we don't get that restitution, then we will turn it over to the police department, okay? Because I think that people need to be held accountable for their actions, okay? So basically, I'm going to be visiting with y'all. I wanted to put y'all have a face with name and all that stuff. I'm going to be working with y'all. I'm going to be coming around. We'll be having some grassroots meetings from time to time, just coming in, expressing some concerns, issues that you might have. I might have an answer, I might not. I bet I can go find the answer if I don't have it. And I just want you to know that I am here to support you. And the last thing that I want to leave you guys with is what an important job this is. And I know Carl, he does a fantastic job of running the transportation department. And what an important part that you play in the school system. You know, we're all here. You'll hear Mr. Vaughn. Our deal is continuous improvement and student success. You're going to hear that all the time. But we're not, you know, if somebody comes to me and says, I need to purchase this, how is it going to improve us? And how is it going to affect student success? We're all here. Whether you drive a bus, whether you're a custodian, whether you're out trimming the trees, okay? It all boils down to student success. Okay, if it wasn't for the students, none of us would be here. We wouldn't. We wouldn't have a job. Okay? So those are our precious commodities, those students, okay? And the great thing about your job, is you're the first face that kid sees every morning when they come to school. You can make the difference in how that kid perceives the rest of the day. You can make the difference if that kid's having a bad day, you know, talking to them, you know, telling these kids we love them, and they can have a good day. Okay? I'm very passionate about that. I'm very passionate about what I do. I want you to be passionate about what you do. You know, you're going to be you're going to be driving these kids. You're going to be the best driver that that kid ever rode with. Okay, that should be your goal, and it should be your goal to put a smile on that face every time that kid steps on your bus, and tell them, you know, have a great day when they come get off. We don't do it enough. We don't do it enough. You don't know the kid's background. You don't know where they slept the night before. You know where they got on the bus, but you don't know what that kid did the night before. Okay, so let's make sure we keep that in mind. And I want you to have a great year. I want you to understand the role that you have and how important your role is to set the tone for that kid for the rest of that school day. Okay, make an influence. Okay, make an influence on those students. Okay, are there any questions that anybody would like to ask? Before I go, I know I have another meeting, but I really look forward to working with you guys. Yes, ma'am.
Well, my question is just probably comment on again. I know, like, when students want to get well in school, they have conflicts, teacher, parent, about kids behavior. If there's a way that you can find out or get the parents more involved or more informed about the safety issues with the bus and how the kids should behave and how the kids' behavior affects us in our driving.
Absolutely. And that's a very good point, because we have transportation rules and guidelines in our handbook. I know you're putting together a handbook for all this. And so we do go over. Now, I can make sure that the principals on the other campuses make sure that we stress that, okay? Because we're going to be meeting with kids at the beginning of the year. That's how the beginning of the year always starts off. We have class meetings. You know, we'll put grade levels out at a time, and we talk to them about rules and regulations and expectations and bus transportation and how transportation is a privilege. Okay, it's not a right, it's a privilege. Okay, and so not abusing the privilege. But that's an excellent point. And I meet with the principals every Tuesday. Okay, and I will make sure that message gets communicated. And then we're also talking about maybe doing some. Are we still talking about the meet the bus driver?
Yes.
Yes. Some of that stuff can be discussed with that as well. So we'll get that out. Absolutely. Anything else that John would like to ask? Right now, I'm going to be around. Glad y'all are here. Looking forward to it. I know y'all probably like driving out of this parking lot a lot better than down there on 2nd Street. There you go. Shoes are clean. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Suppose you're on a route and one of the kids threatens you while on board. What is the procedure on that?
You know, that's some of the stuff that we're going to go over. Each case is different, you know. To me, I think a direct threat, depending on the type of threat, depending on the student, the age of the student, the whole 9 yards, and if you really feel threatened, I'd call the police.
That's exactly what you have to run down right there.
I would stop. I mean, you can't drive for being threatened. Okay? And I'll say this, I would call the police. And like I said, everything a kid says isn't a threat. Okay? You got to decide personally, do I feel threatened by what just happened? Okay? Because here's the deal. You got a bus of 60 kids. Okay? You're responsible for 60 kids. And you have one kid out of 60 acting up. Okay? One of the things that you got to watch out for, and I don't care who I'm talking to, you got to take care of your own safety first. Because if you can't take care of your own safety, then you're not going to be able to take care of the other 59 kids that are on that list. Anybody ever fly on a plane? And they go through that little mask deal that drops down, the cabin loses pressure, what do they tell you? You put it on yourself first before you do children or assist other people. Because if you can't help yourself, you're not going to help anybody else. Okay? So, absolutely. Anything else? Well, guys, welcome. It's going to be a great school year. We've got a lot of great things going on. I'm glad you're here. I'm real glad you're here. We can't do it without you. Can't do it without you. So, just if I don't leave you with anything today, just I want you to be passionate about what you do. I do, and I want that because passion is contagious. Okay, and I want that passion to be contagious to those students. Okay, because that's what we're all here for. Thanks, Carl.